Okay, so it is time to check the back of your worksheet, Interjections in Dialogue by with Tom Sawyer. So you should have highlighted your title. Tells you what we're doing. Also, I want you to just notice we talked about the root word ject, or the root, Latin root word. Not really a word, Latin root ject, which means to throw, right? And we also know Sean makes it a noun. Inter means kind of throw in between, right? So, well, ject means throw. Right? So we have an interjection is kind of an extra short phrase that is thrown into a sentence. You should have that written down. And yesterday you should have listed a whole bunch of them, like yes, no, well, oh. They're very simple. They don't usually add a lot of meaning to the sentence, but they're extra little short phrases that are thrown in. They're usually set apart by a comma or an exclamation point. I should have done that the other way, by an exclamation point or by a comma when the feeling's not as strong. And in this worksheet, we are going to be looking at it in dialogue, which we know dialogue is spoken words inside of quotes, so you should be looking for those quotation marks to help you. All right, below is the passage from Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer. Read it carefully and circle 10 interjections. You were supposed to circle 10. There are actually more than 10 on the page. But look in the dialogue, look for commas, look for little extra short phrases. So I'm looking at paragraph 1. Tom Sawyer, chapter 2. Tom went on whitewashing, paid no attention to the steamboat. Ben stared a moment and then said, "Hi, yi, you're a stump, ain't you?" So I see some dialogue here. I'm going to look for interjections. Do I have any short little phrases set off by an exclamation point or a comma that aren't needed? I would say hi, yi, a little extra there. And then ain't you is a little extra interjection, just interrupting our main sentence. No answer. Tom surveyed his last touch with the eye of an artist. Then he gave his brush another gentle sweep and surveyed the result as before. Ben ranged up alongside of him. Tom's mouth watered for the apple, but he stuck to his work. Ben said, we have more dialogue here, "Hello, old chap. You got your work, hey?" All right, do you see any extra little words or phrases that are not needed that are set off from the sentence by a comma? Hello, comma, old chap. We need the old chap because that's telling who he's talking to. You got to work, hey? We don't need that phrase, hey. That's interjected. Tom wheeled suddenly and said, more dialogue, "Why, it's you, Ben. I warn't noticing." I see a comma here, a little extra phrase. He could have just said, "It's you, Ben. I warn't noticing." This is a little interjection. Why? Say, I'm going a swimming. I am. Now this, I think we could actually count as an interjection too, even though we don't see a comma or an exclamation point. If you didn't get that one, that's fine, but we have a little hyphen setting it off from the sentence. We don't need that word. It is interjected. Don't you wish you could? But of course you'd rather work, wouldn't you? Of course you would. Tom contemplated the boy a bit and said, "What do you call work?" "Why, ain't that work?" I see why interjected at the beginning of that sentence. That is an interjection. Tom resumed his whitewashing and answered carelessly, "Well, maybe it is and maybe it ain't." Well, comma, that is an interjection. All I know is it suits Tom Sawyer. Oh, come now, you don't mean to let on that you like it. Here's an interjection. And actually, you could do the oh, come, and now. It's kind of one whole big extra little phrase that you don't need. The brush continued to move. Like it? Well, I don't see why I oughtn't to like it. Does a boy get a chance to whitewash a fence every day? That put the thing in a new light. Ben stopped nibbling his apple. Tom swept his brush daintily back and forth, stepped back to note the effect, added a touch here and there, criticized the effect again. Ben, watching every move and getting more and more interested, more and more absorbed. Presently he said, "Say, Tom, let me whitewash a little." I think Tom's a pretty smart kid, by the way. We have an interjection here. He didn't need that phrase, say. Tom considered, was about to consent, but he altered his mind. "No, no. I reckon it wouldn't hardly do, Ben. You see, Aunt Polly's awful particular about this fence. You see, comma, right here on the street, you know." Again, he's interrupting his sentence. "But if it was the back fence, I wouldn't mind, and she wouldn't. Yes, she's awful particular about this fence." Yes, an interjection. "It's going to be done very careful. It's got to be done very careful. I reckon there ain't one boy in 1,000, maybe 2,000, that can do it the way it's got to be done." "No, is that so?" "Oh, come now. Let me just try, only just a little. I'd let you if you was me, Tom." All right, so I think we've got all of our interjections there. You were supposed to circle at least 10. Make sure you have 10. There, again, just short little, like yes, no, why, come now. Doesn't really add much meaning to the sentence. Interrupts it. It interjects. It's kind of thrown in. All right. This worksheet needs to go into your binder under writing because you have notes on the front and then examples on the back. That is it for interjections.